We're actually starting to work on next fall's big show is Fiddler on the Roof. And so you guys are actually going to be producing some men's Russian shirts that are going to be in the show. The other thing that I'm looking at very closely is we are going to potentially use one of your patterns as the pattern for Costume Tech Final Project, because they may be making more of these. But the thing that I really want to focus on to begin with is not the specifics of what it's for. What I want to focus on is the fit of the garment. Up until this point, how everything you've done, all your slopers, your collar, your sleeves, how have they fit on the body?
Pretty tightly.
Super tight.
They're all supposed to fit tightly, right? They're second skins. They're a fabric representation of this area, this surface. So now what we're actually going to do, and the purpose of this project, is to start working further away from the body. You know, for lack of a better way to describe it, the kind of draping that you've done so far has been like upholstery work, isn't it? It's not unlike taking a piece of furniture, stretching a piece of fabric over top of it, and then nailing it in place. The only difference is you've been doing it with pins, and you've been doing a couple of different other approaches to it. But the truth of the matter is, you're now prepared to upholster any piece of furniture you want, because it's the exact same process. But if you look around at just what we're wearing, none of us are wearing clothes that are upholstered to our bodies. All of this clothing has a certain amount of ease that's built into it. And so how do you drape ease? That's going to be, and so that's sort of the purpose of this particular project. How do you drape ease? What is ease, first of all?
Extra space.
Extra space. I'm really glad that you used the word space, because that's really what it's about. A lot of people might say extra fabric, but it's really about the introduction of extra space around the body, either so the body can move, you know, as we've seen in like shoulder blades and biceps and things like that, or just for a different type of look. You know, if you look at the history of fashion, it's really interesting because women's wear tends to always fit the body. Men's wear always tends to have a lot of ease in it. Why, historically? Because, of course, it started to change around the 1920s. Say again?
Sword fighting.
Keep going, even less specific than that, just physical movement. Yeah. You know, 9 times out of 10, the women were not working in the same way that men were. Because either you were pregnant and you were forced to stay home because the female's purpose was solely to procreate the race, or because you were trophies. I like this, how I'm speaking to you as if it's all of you. But once women really started to enter the workforce, I mean, I do think it's interesting that women always worked in the fields. And so then you'd have, you know, you could have some looser fitting clothing, but women have always had loosely fitting clothing from the waist down. Why?
Babies.
Yeah, so that you can have a baby. Nobody, you know, all of this up here could still be tight, but as long as all that's loose, you can drop a kid in the middle of the field and keep shucking corn or whatever it is you're doing.
Cabbage.
Right next to it.
Do you like, this is my sociology lesson as well. I'm not sure how much historical accuracy it's based upon. It's just my impression. So how do you drape with ease? Before we go into that, let's talk about the specifics of the project itself. And I actually want you guys to come over here and look at this computer. You know that if you were to be working on a show, what would happen is the designer would give you a sketch, right? Mm-hmm. And then the draper's responsibility is to interpret the sketch in 3D. Mm-hmm. So let's say, for the sake of argument,